Hi everyone, welcome to a Stamping to Share video. My name is Kay Kalthoff and today I'm going to show you the stained glass technique. This beautiful card is one that my club members got to make at my March 2012 clubs, and of course they got to do a technique card at the same time, which allows them to take it home and then they can send the card away but still have the technique card to remember how to do the technique. So let's get started with the stained glass technique. I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to create this card. On the inside it's just an all occasion card, or it would make a really nice Mother's Day card too. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing that you'll need is some cardstock vellum. And I like to use a cardstock vellum because it's nice and thick and it allows me to flick it. And I'll show you what I mean by flicking it in just a second. We're going to take the stamp from Bordering on Romance. We're going to ink it up with Versamark ink, and we are going to stamp that on our piece of vellum. And I gave myself a little extra room on this vellum because I want to be able to insert a punch in there, so I thought I'd use a little extra on the edge here for my punch handle. We're going to take some white embossing powder. Now you could use black embossing powder or other colors, but with this card I decided white was the way to go. I'm just going to sprinkle it over. And now this is the trick. A lot of people complain about embossing powder sticking to their vellum or to their other cardstocks, and really all I do to clear that off is just give it a good flick. And I mean a really good flick. My customers are always surprised at how hard I flick it. But when I do that, you can see there's no residual powder at all. So then you would go ahead and emboss this with your heat tool, which I've already done that, so I have another one here to show you how that looks. And just because I think it'll make it a little easier, I'm going to put this on top of a piece of black paper as I do my coloring. Now I decided to use 3 colors of markers for this card. We're going to use garden green and then rose red and cherry cobbler. Now, even though the paper that we're using is Melon Mambo, I picked rose red because when you're coloring it on the back of the vellum, it does appear to be a little lighter on the front of the vellum, and so then the color actually matches quite well. So the first thing that we do is we just go ahead and we color the entire set of flowers. And I'm actually just going to do one flower because I think you can get the general idea. So, well, maybe I'll do 2 flowers as long as I'm at it. Alright, and then of course you would color your leaves. So all we're doing here is we just have the back of the vellum and we're just coloring it. You can see how very easy this is. The next thing is to take our cherry cobbler marker and we're just going to add some accents, because right now it looks nice, but it's a little bit blah. Actually, it shows up better behind a lighter paper. But you can see we've got our garden green showing through and our rose red showing through. And now we're just going to add some accents with the cherry cobbler. So I'm just going to color in the center and then this turned up petal. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of center to these flowers, a little bit of a darker center. So when you turn it over, you can see how that really enhances the center of your flower. So I've already gone ahead and done this. Whoops. We'll go ahead and show you what this looks like. This is the front once it's been colored. This is the back, so you can see that it's just rough colored, and then I accented with a darker colored marker. And then when you flip it over, you have that look. And it's gorgeous! So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut that into a circle. I'm just going to use the 2.5-inch circle punch. And we're just going to insert the vellum into the 2.5-inch circle punch. And this image actually works just perfect in the 2.5-inch circle punch. There we go. Now we're going to pop that up on another circle punch. And all I'm going to do is take some snail. Snail doesn't show through. You could also use glue dots once your marker is thoroughly dried. Or I've even taken the multi-purpose liquid glue and put a dot in each of the centers and then adhere it that way. But for this video, I'm going to go ahead and use snail just where the colored part of my image is, where I've colored it with markers. If I use snail on the vellum where it's not colored, it will show through. So then we just put this on the same size circle, except we're using pink pirouette as our base. And now all we have to do is assemble our card. So I have a card base. It's basic black, and it's cut at 10 inches by 5 inches and folded in half. And then I took some Melon Mambo cardstock, or is it Mambo? I think it's Melon Mambo. I always, you know how you get a word in your brain and you just can't think around it? So I know my customers are always telling me I'm mispronouncing that. But anyway, I'm just going to put a little glue in the back. We're just going to put this on the card and center it, and I think that looks pretty good. You'll also notice I added a little bit of an embossed edge. So this center panel is 4.75 inches, and then I embossed a 1/4 inch on each side. And so actually you just put it up to your score tool and just emboss each side at 4.5 inches. Then you will get this 1/4 inch embossed line around your entire square panel. The next thing I did is I took a piece of black paper and I ran it through the Big Shot machine with the paper doily die. And because the center of because this takes up the center, you really don't need to poke out everything in the center. And so all you have to do is poke out the edges. And I will tell you, with the paper doily die, I do have to use 3 shims. I find it a little difficult sometimes to run the doily die through because it's very hard to crank it through. But if I don't use 3 shims, then I can't punch it out very well. And you know, another thing I'm going to do, you can see I've put the liquid glue through the center here. I'm going to add a little bit of two-way glue, just a little bit, so that my edges of the doily won't be curling up. So you can see how I do that. You don't need very much, you just want it to catch. And so we're going to go ahead and put this on next. And we're just centering it in there. Alright, now we might as well finish off the inside of our card. You can see I've already stamped and colored that with markers. So I'm just going to take a little multi-purpose liquid glue at the top. And then I can open my card and center that on the right panel. And then wait a little bit for this to stick. It's almost there. Alright, I think it's there. We're ready to roll. So now we have our beautiful image that we're going to adhere to the center of our doily panel, and I've already put 3 dimensionals on the back. We'll set this like that, I think. And then to decorate this card up even further and to just give it that finishing touch, I've used the embosslet called Wonderful Wings, and I ran it through with Daffodil Delight and Melon Mambo and added a very pretty little rhinestone to the center, and then we're just going to adhere that with a glue dot. So we'll put this on with a glue dot. Actually, maybe 2 glue dots. Kind of had that off center. And we'll put the butterfly down here. Press him on, make his wings stand up a little bit. And I think that's good to go. So there it is, the really pretty stained glass card. And I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial about creating a stained glass card. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for stopping by Stamping to Share. Bye-bye.